What is up, guys? Today we are here with Peter in his premium first place Chaos Breaker deck profile.
Hello guys, as they say, my name is Peter. I love playing Chaos Breaker. Today I took first place in KSC local tournaments. I also took this deck this past BCS league in 2022. I went to the Georgia regional, and that's probably one of the worst ones to do because it was a format where we had Odysseus back, we had Narukami, and we had the birth of what we know now as Steam Maidens. I ended up taking 18th place. Actually, I was the last Chaos Breaker deck in top tables. So without further ado, I'm gonna give you my Chaos Breaker deck profile. All right guys, so we're starting with our grade 3s. We're playing 4 Chaos Breaker Dragon. His skill is continues during your turn. If your opponent has a locked card, this unit gains 10,000 power. Then once per turn, you can counterblast 1. Your opponent gains an imaginary gift force, and you can lock 1 of their rear guards. Then an auto ability, whenever your opponent's units unlock, you can pay the cost, which is a Soul Blast 1, and you can choose to retire any of those unlocked units. When that happens, your opponent chooses 2 of their markers on the field and or their hand, and they remove them. For each marker that they remove, you gain an imaginary gift force. Then we're playing 2 Chaos Breaker Close, and this unit we play just for the skill that whenever he is discarded for the cost of stride, if you have a Vanguard with a Chaos Heart, you can choose to Soul Blast 1, and your opponent has to pick a card in their hand and call it to the field as a locked card. The other is 2 Freeze Ray Dragons. This unit has a skill that whenever he is hit and you take a damage, you can choose 1 of your opponent's rear guards and lock it. We're using it only for that skill as a defensive measure for decks that rush. So that's it for our grade 3s. We're moving on to our grade 2s. 4 Zirconium, and his ability is whenever he is placed on Vanguard or rear guard, you can counterblast 1, and your opponent looks at the top card of the deck and puts it on a rear guard circle as a locked card. If they put it on a back rear circle, you draw, and this unit gains 10,000 power. He is the only card that locks early game without GB, without stride, and without the need to have another lock card on the field. So he's very important for that because he's the one that starts all your combos. Then we are running 3 Photon. After we use Zirconium, we play the Photons for his ability. Whenever he's placed and there is a locked card on the field, you can choose a rear guard and lock it. So they pair very well. Whenever they deal you the first damage, you call Zirconium, they lock a card from the top of the deck, and then Photon can lock an extra rear guard on the field. The next grade 2 we're running is 3 Cold Breath Dragon. And this card says whenever it's placed on the field and there's a locked card, your opponent you pay the cost, of course, counterblast 1, and then your opponent chooses a rear circle, and your opponent has to call the top card of the deck to that rear circle. It doesn't matter if there's a unit on that circle or not. They can choose that circle and they have to call over it. And this is a very important card because he's the one that helps me fill those extra rearguard circles that I couldn't get to with Zirconium or any of my strides. So that's why I'm running him. I used to run him at 4. It was a bit too much. He's also an AK, so it's a bit of a takeaway from him. So I mainly use it to gain extra locks on the rear circle. I usually put him on a back rear if I need to get there, and that's his primary function. Then the last card I'm running is this Gilly. This is a deleter card, but his effect is really good. I'm running it as a tech because he is there to be placed as a Vanguard whenever the opponent wants to stay at grade 2 and play the grade 2 game. So he's good to be there because as a Vanguard, I can stay on a 10k, and whenever he hits, I can pay the cost, and after I pay the cost, I can bind one of the opponent's unit, and if I didn't bind a unit, then I draw a card instead. So he's really good in the deck. He's been working out so far. I like him. That's it for my grade 2s. The best grade 1 in the deck right now by far, we are running for Craven Claw. So Craven Claw says whenever this attack hits, or the attack he boosted hits, you can look at top 5 cards and get a Starvator from there and put it in your hand. He's very offensive. He is the draw engine of the deck, and opponents will go for it most of the time. He also has the ability that when your opponent is a grade 3, if you have a lock card, you can push him into the soul, and then you unlock one of your opponent's cards, and you can choose to lock a different one. So whenever you stay on Chaos Breaker, let's say you didn't strike and you already have a lock card, but your opponent locked the back row and you needed to lock a front row instead, because sometimes in this deck your opponent's the one that chooses which cards to lock. You can put him into the soul, which will feed the soul, which is a resource that we need in this deck, and then unlock the back row card that they locked, and then you can lock one of their front rear cards. So he's extremely useful. The next card that we play are for Crunching Deleter, and I play this card because he's the one that extends my locks. He is the main card that plays a major role in this deck in keeping all the rear circles locked. The main objective of this deck is to have all 5 of the rear guards locked, not let them play anything on board as much as possible, and this card makes this possible starting from turn 2. If sometimes they rush me, I am able to have a good hand with Zirconium, with Photon, and then I drop this and their cards are Omega Lock. That gives me a chance for me to get to my grade 3 turn and keep locking more of their field. The other play is whenever I went first and I ride into Freeze Ray, I try to stay as healthy as possible, not take as much damage when I have that hand and I go first. I ride Freeze Ray, I place this down, pay the cost to Soul Blast 1, and after I end my turn, if they attack my Freeze Ray, every time my Freeze Ray take damage, I get to lock one of their cards, and it's Omega Lock for that turn. So their turn basically becomes a more controlled turn for me. So in that case, sometimes they don't even play any rear guards on the field, which is a plus for me. The next card I'm playing are 3 Thoriums. This is the grade 1 Starvator Perfect Guard. I'm playing it because he's a Starvator. It is searchable by Craven Claw, and on top of that, whenever you use it and its effect, you are able to draw a card. The last card for grade 1s I'm running is this tech card, Lady Searcher of Planetary Minerals. That's the promo. Her effect is whenever you guard with her, you can choose to unlock a card. She's becoming less and less useful as I've been using her lately in the deck. Probably I'll change her with something else once I find something better to put in the deck. For my zeros, I am playing this starter because there's not a nice starter that I really like right now in the deck, so I'm playing that for now. The next one is Carbon, and I'm playing him because of his ability. He can go into Soul, which feeds the Soul for me, and then after he goes into Soul, whenever there's a lock card, I can go search my deck for a grade 1 or less Star Vader and call it to rear guard. So he tutors Craving Claw or the Star Vader crit Paradigm Shift for me to be able to be called to rear guard. So he's very useful. He's also a 10k shield. And the last grade 0 that I'm running in the deck is this one. Does the Crate Elemental Beacon, and I'm running him as an extra perfect guard for those deck that gets multiple Vanguard attacks. Moving on to my triggers, I'm running 3 Heal Guardians because we all need them, and 1 of the Star Vader heal, which is Magallanica Stream. I'm running this because it's another resource manager that I have. Whenever I use his ability for the cause of Stride, then I can choose another heal in the drop zone and bind this one and the other heal off the game, and I can choose to either counter charge 1 or soul charge 1. So it just helps me that way. Next up, I am running 4 of the Stride crits because it's needed in this deck. Then I'm running 4 of the Go Into Soul crit because again we need the soul in this. Then I'm running 2 Paradigm Shifts. That's the Star Vader crit. It is useful because his ability says whenever there's a locked card, I can pay the cost, which is put him back into the deck, and I can choose a rear guard in the back row and lock it. Also, he is searchable by Craving Claw. The next card I'm running is a single draw trigger for the last perfect guard and the over trigger. And that's it for the main deck. For my Stride Zone, I'm running 2 Chaos Universe, 2 Chaos Breaker Deluxe. I'm running 4 Glue Ball and 2 of the Glue Ball Avalanche. Then I'm running Barrier N and 1 Cosmic Dawn. That's the new Stride. And then for my G Guards, I am running 2 Destiny Guardian. That's the best G Guard in the whole deck. And I'm running 1 Big Ripper and 1 Lacus Carina. So guys, that is it for my Chaos Breaker deck profile. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. For tonight's tournament, we didn't run any over trigger. I took it out and I put a 3rd critical trigger, Star Vader, the Paradigm Shift. And remember that for the next Kingslayer Cards tournament that we have this upcoming February 25th and 26th, there will be no over triggers in our premium tournament. And that's to win a PlayStation 5 as a grand prize, and we'll also have cash prizes. So remember to keep up with it. You can look us up on Facebook, you can look us up on Twitter and YouTube, and follow us for any of your card needs. Remember to go to kingslayercards.com. Our friendly staff will be there to help you. They are fast, they are quick, and we have the best prices. Thank you guys so much. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Yeah, we all regret playing into Chaos Breaker, but you play it very well, and this deck is built really well. Unfortunately, he will not be playing in the premium event because he's going to be head judging it. So you guys won't be able to see that if you aren't going to our locals. But you'll see it at regionals maybe.
Definitely.
All right, subscribe, like this video. See you guys in the next one.